who was the last conservative president?
Depends on your definition of conservative, I suppose.
In your opinion?
Oh, the last conservative president. I would argue Donald Trump.
Before Trump, though, is what I mean.
George W. Bush. Well, I am not wrong.
What did he do that was conservative?
You
can't be wrong because it's your opinion, right?
That's the point, because what it means to be conservative changes with every generation and every step.
But when people say it, though, right? Because people say, I'm a Reagan Republican, typically, when they refer to what conservatism used to be.
Oh, yeah, Reagan destroyed marriage and gun rights. And he gave amnesty in California to illegal immigrants.
Got rid of mental institutions.
Close the asylums. Yep.
Yeah, and I wasn't.
He raised taxes in 5 out of the 8 years he was president.
Right, I was alive for I think 2 years of his presidency, and before that, a lot of the worst things that he brought to this country came from California. So, yeah, I don't think that guy was a conservative at all.
Right, but that's what if you ask the average Republican today, they'll say Reagan.
Right, but that's not left and right. Left and right doesn't make a direct reference.
No, sure. The last time that we had a right-leaning, in the traditional sense, president was probably Eisenhower. Maybe Nixon. Nixon got railroaded quite a bit. That's a whole other conversation we don't need to go on. But when I say there's no right and left anymore, I mean if you ask somebody to define their ism, whatever it happens to be, conservatism or liberalism, they have no idea what those words mean, right? And they're not represented in the true fashion. As you say, though, they do evolve over time. But the words do mean something, right? Like when we say classical liberalism, what we mean is liberalism.
No,
that's what it means, right?
No, it doesn't.
That's not what people mean when they say it, but that's what they're trying to refer to. What liberalism was during its inception, right?
So this actually is really interesting. Classical liberalism is a reference to the 1700s. Right. It's a reference to Locke and a lot of the founding fathers.
Exactly. Yeah. But liberal doesn't mean left, right?
Right. I thought you were saying what liberal was 20 years ago.
No. I mean like 300 years ago.
Right. Exactly.
Like when people say classical liberal, they mean I believe in free speech. Basically, that's what you should mean when you say that.
Right.
That's the most free speech and property rights. That's classical liberalism.
Yes.
Basically, right.
And then liberal turned into from classical to traditional to social liberalism, which is what we had in the 90s.
Right.
And now people hear the phrase classical liberal and I think it means 90s liberal.
Right, but that's not what it means.
It does not. It's closer to libertarian.
And this is what I'm saying. People, we don't even know what the words mean anymore. So when people say them to identify themselves, and they have no idea what it means, which gives this space for these useless politicians to come in and redefine what things are. And they're not special people, right? They won a popularity contest. The only person in Congress that's special is Thomas Massey, frankly, because he's a literal genius.
Right.
Like he built his own house off the grid. And if I got to tell you, I've got a lot of pipe hitter friends, but if we were in a legit Thunderdome situation, I think I'm going to Thomas Massey's house.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
He's off the grid, and he built his own self-sustainable farm.
It's ridiculous. So he's special. I don't want to single him out. I'm sure there's a couple other people that are great, but for the majority of these people, they're not but special.
So typically, when people say liberal or conservative, what they really mean is left or right. And what left and right define is the umbrella of each dominant political faction in opposition to each other in this country.
Yeah, but conservative doesn't even mean right. Conservative means to conserve. Like I want things to stay the way they were. That's not necessarily a right-leaning position. Maybe things were left and they want to conserve the left.
Exactly. And reactionary, I refer to the leftists as reactionaries. So reactionary was a reference to, let's go back in time. The French Revolution, where we had the terms left and right. The left side of the court was saying, revolution, and the right side was saying, no, protect them. We want the monarchy. We don't want to do this. And so the right were called reactionaries in that they were responding to the revolution of the left and largely opposed it. So reactionary came to represent, it basically means you want the status quo. You want to return things to the way they were. The issue is that for leftists, they think they're revolutionaries. The problem is when they're too stupid to realize they're trying to revert the United States back to the way it used to be. For instance, DEI programs are actually how things used to be. The reality is for the majority of human existence, race-based policy was the norm. And it's only in the past couple of decades we've actually had law preventing this. In fact, redlining and blockbusting housing policies targeting minorities ended in the 80s. So when the left comes out and smashes things and using violence and says, we want things to be the way they used to be, I say they're reactionaries. And then they go, you're so dumb. Reactionary means right wing. I'm like, no, it means you want things to be the way they used to be.
Yeah.
And we do not.
Well, this is the problem when you let the people who are engaged in the power struggle define the terms, right? Because it's all a magician's pattern. None of these words mean anything anymore. And that's why there is a functional right and left, but not a definable one where there's two sides. People ask me all the time about, well, not so much anymore, but before Trump was elected, about civil war and stuff. I'm like, between who and whom?
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.